Good morning, respected teachers, parents, and my dear friends. Today I stand before you to discuss an important question. Why do we read English? At first glance, this might seem like a simple question, but the answer goes much deeper. Learning and reading English is about much more than just passing exams or fulfilling school requirements. It is a skill that enriches our lives in numerous ways, both practical and personal. Let's explore why reading English is so important in today's world. 1. English, the language of the world. One of the primary reasons we read English is because it is a global language. Over 1.5 billion people around the world speak English, and many more learn it as a second language. It is the official or national language in over 70 countries, and it is widely used in international communication, trade, and diplomacy. Imagine traveling to a foreign country. Even if you don't speak their native language, knowing English can help you navigate your way. Airports, hotels, and tourist spots often provide information in English because it's the language that connects people from different cultures. When we read English, we are not just reading words on a page, we are preparing ourselves to communicate and connect with the world. 2. A gateway to knowledge. English is often referred to as the language of knowledge and learning. Why? Because the vast majority of the world's information is published in English. Scientific journals, research papers, academic textbooks, and online resources are primarily written in English. By reading English, we gain access to this treasure trove of knowledge. Think about how powerful that is. Whether you're interested in science, technology, history, or literature, reading in English gives you direct access to the latest developments and discoveries. For example, if you dream of becoming a doctor, an engineer, or a scientist, you will need to read English to study the latest research and advancements in your field. Without this skill, you might be limited to information available in your native language, which may not be as comprehensive or up to date. 3. Boosting career opportunities. In today's globalized world, English is the language of business and commerce. Companies, especially multinational corporations, operate in multiple countries, and English is often the common language they use for communication. When you read and understand English well, you can handle tasks such as reading complex reports and analyzing data, writing professional emails and proposals, understanding industry-specific documents and guidelines. These are essential skills that employers look for. Being proficient in English can open doors to high-paying jobs, promotions, and even opportunities to work abroad. In fact, in many countries, knowing English is considered a key skill for career advancement. So, reading English isn't just about improving literacy, it's about improving employability and securing a brighter future. 4. Personal development and growth. Beyond practical benefits, reading English contributes significantly to our personal development. Let me explain how. Expanding vocabulary. When we read English, we are constantly exposed to new words and phrases. This expands our vocabulary and helps us express ourselves more effectively, improving critical thinking. Reading in English, especially books, articles, and essays, encourages us to think critically. We analyze the text, interpret the meaning, and sometimes even question the author's perspective. This sharpens our analytical skills, which are valuable in both academics and life. Building empathy. Reading English literature exposes us to different cultures, lifestyles, and viewpoints. When we read a novel set in another country, we learn about the struggles, joys, and experiences of people who live very different lives from our own. This builds empathy and helps us understand the world from a broader perspective. 5. Enhancing communication skills. Reading English also plays a crucial role in improving our communication skills. The more we read, the better we become at writing and speaking in English. Writing skills. Introduction. Reading helps us understand sentence structure, grammar, and punctuation. When we read well-written texts, we subconsciously learn how to write better ourselves. Whether it's an essay, a story, or an email, reading in English makes us better writers. Speaking skills. Reading aloud in English improves pronunciation and fluency. It also helps us become more confident speakers because we learn how to express ideas clearly and effectively. Good communication skills in English are essential not only for academic success, but also for social interactions, professional networking, and even public speaking. 6. Enjoying entertainment and media. Let's not forget the fun part. English is the language of some of the world's best entertainment books, movies, music, and more. When we read English, we can enjoy stories and works of art in their original form. We don't have to rely on translations, which can sometimes miss the essence of the original text. For example, reading the Harry Potter series in English allows us to experience J.K. Rowling's magical world as she intended it to be. Watching Hollywood movies or English TV shows without subtitles enhances our listening skills and helps us enjoy the content fully. Entertainment is a big part of our lives, and reading English allows us to fully appreciate the creativity and beauty of global media. 7. Preparing for a globalized future. Finally, we read English because it prepares us for the future. The world is becoming increasingly interconnected. Whether we choose to study abroad, work in an international company, or simply communicate with friends from other countries, English will continue to play a vital role. By reading English regularly, we build a strong foundation that equips us for success in this globalized world. 8. Overcoming challenges in reading English. While we've discussed the many benefits of reading English, it's also important to acknowledge that it's not always easy. Many of us face challenges, especially in the beginning. But remember, every skill takes time to develop, and with persistence you can overcome these difficulties. Here are some common challenges and how to tackle them. A. Difficulty understanding vocabulary. It's common to come across unfamiliar words when reading English. This can be frustrating, but it's actually a good thing. It means you're learning. Solution: keep a dictionary, either a physical one or an app, nearby while reading. When you encounter a new word, look it up and note it down. Gradually, your vocabulary will expand. Another tip: try to guess the meaning of a word from the context before looking it up. This improves your comprehension skills. B. Losing interest or motivation. Sometimes reading in English can feel like a chore, especially if the material is too difficult or not engaging. Solution: choose content that interests you. If you love sports, read articles about your favorite athletes. If you enjoy mysteries, pick up a detective novel. When you read what you love, it doesn't feel like work. Start small. Begin with short articles, blogs, or even comics, and gradually move on to longer books. C. Struggling with complex sentence structures. English often has long, complex sentences that can be confusing. Solution: break the sentence into smaller parts. Identify the subject, verb, and object, and understand each part separately before putting it all together. Practice with simpler texts first, and gradually move on to more advanced materials like novels or academic articles. 9. Success stories: how reading English changes lives. Reading English has transformed the lives of many people around the world. Let me share a few inspiring examples. Malala Yousafzai. Malala, the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate, is an advocate for girls' education. Growing up in Pakistan, she learned English as a second language. Reading English allowed her to access global literature, connect with international leaders, and share her story with the world through her book, I Am Malala. Jack, Massachusetts. Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, one of the world's largest e-commerce companies, learned English as a young boy by giving free tours to tourists in China. His ability to read and communicate in English helped him understand global business trends and build a company that operates worldwide. Your own story. And now, think about yourself. Imagine the doors that reading English can open for you. Whether it's studying at a prestigious university, working for an international organization, or simply being able to read your favorite books in their original language, the possibilities are endless. 10. Tips to improve your English reading skills. To make reading in English a habit and improve your skills, follow these practical tips. A. Set a reading goal. Decide how much time you want to dedicate to reading English each day. It could be 10 minutes or an hour. Consistency is more important than duration. B. Create a reading journal. Keep a notebook where you write down new words, phrases, and ideas you find interesting. Review it regularly to reinforce your learning. C. Read aloud. Reading aloud helps improve your pronunciation, fluency, and confidence. It also helps you understand the rhythm and flow of the English language. D. Join a reading club. Find a group of friends or classmates who are also interested in improving their English. Choose a book to read together and discuss it. This will make reading more fun and interactive. E. Use technology. There are many apps and websites designed to help you improve your reading skills in English. Apps like Duolingo, Grammarly, and Newsela offer personalized reading materials and exercises. 11. The role of teachers and parents. While individual effort is essential, the role of teachers and parents in encouraging reading habits cannot be overlooked. Teachers. Provide students with a variety of reading materials that cater to different interests and skill levels. Encourage students to ask questions, discuss what they've read, and share their thoughts. Create a positive reading environment in the classroom where students feel motivated to improve. Parents. Encourage reading at home by providing books, magazines, and newspapers in English. Read with your children, especially if they are young. This not only improves their reading skills, but also strengthens the parent-child bond. Celebrate small milestones, such as finishing a book or learning new words, to keep them motivated. 12. A vision for the future. Imagine a future where you are confident in reading, writing, and speaking English. Picture yourself reading international newspapers, understanding complex research papers, writing essays or reports with ease, and confidently communicating with people from different countries. This future is within your reach. All it takes is dedication, practice, and a love for learning. English stories help us learn, dream, and grow. Stories make English easy to enjoy, understand, and practice. Listening to stories improves speaking, writing, and imagination. They teach us about life, inspire our hearts, and show us new ways to think. Today's story is magical, filled with wonder and hope. It reminds us that dreams can shape reality and change lives. Let's dive into a tale you'll never forget. It was a cold, quiet night in Boston. Michael, a young man with messy brown hair and tired eyes, walked alone on the empty streets. He had lost his job last week, and his bills were piling up. Every step felt heavy, and his mind was full of worry. Suddenly, he noticed a tiny glowing sign at the corner of an alley. "Dreams for sale," the sign read. Michael's heart skipped a beat. What kind of shop sells dreams? He hesitated but felt a strange pull. The glow of the shop's light was warm, almost magical. He stepped closer, curiosity growing stronger. Inside, the shop was filled with tiny glass jars, each glowing softly. An old man with a kind smile stood behind the counter. His name tag read Mr. Thomas. "Welcome, Michael," Mr. Thomas said, even though Michael hadn't introduced himself. Michael froze. "How do you know my name?" Mr. Thomas chuckled softly. "This is a place where dreams come true. I know what you need." Michael's breath quickened. He wanted to leave but couldn't. There was something soothing about Mr. Thomas's voice, something reassuring. Michael's life was falling apart, but this shop, this moment, felt like a tiny spark of hope. "What kind of dreams do you sell?" Michael asked, his voice trembling. Mr. Thomas gestured to the glowing jars. "These are not just dreams for sleep. They can change your reality. Some bring success, others bring love, confidence, or happiness. Choose wisely, for the dream you pick will shape your life." Michael stared at the jars. One glowed golden, labeled confidence, another shimmered silver. Named New Beginnings, a deep blue jar caught his eye. It was called Courage. Michael reached for the blue jar. "How does it work?" he asked. Mr. Thomas smiled. "Drink it before bed. As you sleep, the dream will guide you. When you wake, your life will begin to change." "What's the price?" Michael asked, fearing it might be too expensive. "The price is trust," Mr. Thomas replied. "You must believe in the dream. Without belief, it will not work." Michael hesitated. Could this really help him? He was desperate, and desperation often leads to risks. He finally nodded and took the jar. That night, Michael sat on his bed, staring at the blue jar. He thought about his failures, his fears, and the emptiness inside him. Then, with a deep breath, he opened the jar and drank its contents. The liquid was warm, like a hug. Soon Michael fell asleep, and a vivid dream began. In the dream, he was standing on a tall mountain, facing a fierce storm. A voice whispered, "Take a step forward. Trust yourself." Michael's heart pounded, but he stepped into the storm. As he walked, the wind calmed, and the sun broke through the clouds. When Michael woke up, he felt different. The heaviness in his chest was gone. For the first time in months, he felt strong. He spent the day applying for jobs, walking into offices with a confidence he never had before. By evening, he had 2 interviews lined up. Days turned into weeks, and Michael's life began to transform. He got a new job, started smiling more, and even helped a neighbor who was struggling. One night, he returned to the dream shop to thank Mr. Thomas, but the shop was gone. The alley was empty, as if it had never existed. Michael realized the dream shop wasn't just about magic. It was about believing in the power of change. The dreams were tools, but the real work came from within. This story reminds us that we all have the power to dream and change. Dreams inspire action, and action shapes reality. If you want to improve your life, start by believing in yourself. Take small steps, trust your journey, and never give up. As Michael stood there in the empty alley, the realization slowly sank in. He had found something far more important than just a magical shop. He had discovered a new belief in himself. It wasn't the shop that changed his life, it was the courage to take action, to believe that change was possible, no matter how impossible it seemed at first. Every dream Michael had from that day on was rooted in that same belief. Dreams weren't just about wishing for something to happen, they were about finding the strength inside to make it happen. The shop had given him the spark, but his journey was his own. Days turned into months, and Michael's life became a reflection of his newfound confidence. He worked hard at his new job, but he didn't stop there. He began helping others who had lost their way, just like he had. He mentored young people who were struggling with their own challenges and shared his story. One evening, while sitting in a cafe, Michael overheard a conversation between 2 friends. One was talking about how he felt stuck in life, unsure of his future, and the other friend was offering advice. Michael listened closely and realized that the advice was the same kind of advice he had once needed. He couldn't help himself, he joined the conversation. You know, Michael said gently, sometimes the most important step you can take is the one that scares you the most. It's all about believing that things can change and having the courage to take that first step. The two friends looked at him, curious. "What do you mean?" one asked. Michael smiled, remembering the journey he had taken. "I mean that sometimes we need to dream big, but the real magic comes when you start working toward those dreams, even when it feels like nothing is changing." His words resonated with them, and soon they too started taking steps toward their own goals. It became a ripple effect, one person sharing a spark of hope, which inspired others to take action. Michael had found a new purpose to help people see that their dreams were not as far away as they thought. He started hosting workshops, helping people work through their fears and build the confidence they needed to make their dreams come true. He shared his story of how he had walked into a magical shop, but also made sure they understood that the magic wasn't in the shop, it was in the belief they had in themselves. Through these workshops, Michael met people from all walks of life, young, old, rich, poor. It didn't matter what their background was, they all shared one thing: a desire for change. They wanted to live their lives to the fullest, but they were too afraid to take the first step. Michael shared his experience with them, letting them know that fear was natural, but courage was what turned dreams into reality. One young woman, Sarah, came to him after one of his workshops. She was shy, unsure of herself, and afraid of failure. "I want to start a business," she told Michael, "but I don't know where to begin." Michael smiled. The first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important one. Take that step no matter how small. And remember, every failure is just a lesson that brings you closer to success. Sarah took his advice to heart. She started her business with the little she had, and slowly it began to grow. Years later, she returned to one of Michael's workshops, but this time she wasn't just a participant, she was a speaker, sharing her own story of how belief in action had changed her life. Michael's journey had come full circle. What started with a single step into a magical dream shop had turned into a movement of people who were ready to believe in themselves and change their lives. The lessons he learned were simple, yet profound. Believe in yourself. Without belief, dreams remain just dreams. When you believe in your potential, you open the door to endless possibilities. Take action. Dreams are not fulfilled by wishing, they are fulfilled by doing. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Embrace failure. Failure is not the end, it's a part of the journey. Each failure teaches you something valuable and brings you one step closer to success. Inspire others. The greatest joy in achieving your dreams comes from helping others achieve theirs. share your story, offer support, and watch as the ripple effect of kindness and inspiration spreads. As Michael's story continued to inspire others, he realized that the dream shop had given him more than just confidence, it had given him purpose. The world was full of people who needed to believe in themselves, and Michael was ready to be their guide. He often thought back to that night when he had first entered the shop. If someone had told him then that he would one day help others change their lives, he wouldn't have believed it. But that's the beauty of life sometimes. It's not about how big the dream is, it's about how willing you are to take that first step. In the end, Michael didn't need a magical shop to change his life. What he needed was the courage to dream, the belief that those dreams could become reality, and the determination to take the first step. The rest followed naturally. Dreams are the stars we reach for, he would say, but the path to them is built one step at a time. This is the power of dreams. They show us the way, but it's our courage that makes them real. And so, dear listener, let me ask you, what dream are you holding on to? What first step have you been afraid to take? The journey to your dreams begins with belief, with courage, and with action. Don't wait for magic to happen, create it yourself. The magic is not in the dream itself, but in the courage to make it come true. If you enjoyed this story, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that inspire you to dream bigger, work harder, and believe in yourself. You are capable of achieving incredible things, and your dreams are just waiting to become your reality. Keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep stepping forward. The world is